Hello and welcome to another episode of Learn English with an Australian accent. Remember, as with all my videos, you can find your language in the subtitle menu. In this episode, I am heading down to Albany, which is the most southern point of Australia, for a work trip. When I go to Albany, I stay in these little cabins in a caravan park. They are quite comfortable and self-contained with their own toilet and shower. The accommodation is very basic, but it's comfortable enough and perfect for a work trip. This is my car, the vehicle that I use for work. In Australia, we would describe this as a four-wheel drive ute. I have fitted a canopy on the back of it so that it can house all of my tools, and I have fitted roof racks so that I can put scaffolding on the roof. It is one of two of these vehicles that I own, as I have multiple workers who need to use these to transport tools and equipment for work. It is a Chinese vehicle, and these are fairly new to Australia, but so far I am quite impressed with it. The quality is quite good and the comfort is to be rivaled with another vehicle that I have. This morning I'm driving into Albany from the caravan park, which is about a 15-kilometre drive from the King River Palms Caravan Park. The day is a little overcast, but we are coming into summer in Australia and it is quite a warm day. I won't bore you with my day's work for today, instead I'll show you around the caravan park. The scenery at King River Palms is beautiful. It's located on the King River, and when I am staying here, sometimes I stay in the cabins, but other times I drag my own caravan down here with my car and I stay under this tree. In the 4 years that I have been coming here, this is probably the emptiest I have seen the caravan park, but when we come into school holiday season, the park will be absolutely full. In winter, we have campfires with the kids, and there are barbecues provided by the park in this eating area that you can use free of charge. Sometimes when I come down, I stay in these cabins that you can see here, but these ones unfortunately don't have toilets in them, and then when the need arises, you have to make your way over to the ablution block over here. The owners of the park are lovely people and even provide a small library of books for people to read when they come and stay. There's another more central eating area in the caravan park, as well as a playground, which was a massive favourite with my children when they were younger and still is, even though they are 16 and 14. The eating area is equipped with a microwave and all of the things that you need to cook, and a big table and chairs, as well as another couple of barbecues to cook on. There are some permanent residents in the park, and they tend to make the place look pretty. There are often some beautiful combinations of car and caravan rigs, we call them, that come into the park, and Starlink is becoming popular. Dwayne and Henrietta, the owners of the park, have gone to a lot of trouble, seeing as we are coming into Christmas season, to put up Christmas lights. I would hate to think how long it took them to wrap those trees around and around and around with a ladder to that height. And there's more over here as well. Well, that's me all done in for the night. I'd better get some sleep before the big day of work tomorrow. This is a quick look at the simplicity of the inside of the cabin. It's all you need. The next morning, I have driven around from the caravan park towards Little Grove, which is around a big bay and looks back towards Albany. Today is a much better looking day, and from here you can see the port and the silos of Albany. The silos, when we zoom in, are famous for their silo art. It is quite impressive when you get up close. The Albany Entertainment Centre is also a feature on the shoreline. Albany is also famous for its windmills. There are many wind farms, as there is almost constant wind in Albany. Another quite famous tourist destination in Albany is what we are about to see coming into the picture, which is a replica of the Brig Amity. This ship played a significant role in the European settlement of Albany. This ship is a full-size replica of the original ship that brought the first European settlers to Albany in 1826. The original was built in 1816 in Canada. Albany was originally settled as a military garrison called King George Sound before it was renamed Albany. These were the first European settlers to land on this side of Australia. You can visit the top deck of the Brig Amity for free, which is pretty awesome, but if you would like to visit below, you have to pay a small fee for adults, children or concession. I have visited below with my wife and my children before on a previous trip down this hatch, and it is well worth looking at. There are also many historic buildings to visit in Albany. There is also a metal art display that someone has created where you drive in your vehicle around and view all of the art pieces for a donation. Well worth it. Another very popular pastime is to visit the strawberry farm and to pick strawberries. You drive in, and for a small fee you can pick a good amount of strawberries and also eat as you pick them. It is a lot of fun, and the car park in this place is never empty. Albany also has very steep terrain in a lot of places, and this is one of my favourite streets in Albany, although my wife doesn't like driving up or down it, but the video does not show it justice, but it is extremely steep. It's even more fun coming up the other way. For fun, I took my mother down the road, and she would not let me take her back up again. She was that panicked. Some of my clients live in very beautiful areas with beautiful views. The video also doesn't do this justice, but the view from this street as you drive down is absolutely beautiful. It overlooks the bay and boats and also the hills in the background. I quickly visited Bayonet Head Lookout, another tourist place where you can see the beautiful views of Albany. It was quite windy on the day that I was there, and I tried to launch a drone to get some footage, but my drone was blown away nearly and I had to bring it down so that it wasn't going sideways. Here is a zoom in on what is known as Emu Point, another famous tourist location. From here, Albany town itself is further to the right and a little more inland, over there. I walked down to the lower lookout, and from here the view was much better of the bay, and you could see more boats, although it was still just as windy. These were the stairs that I came down to get to the lower lookout, and now I've got to go back up them. Back up the top, I got out my 600mm zoom lens, which I absolutely love but don't use very often, to zoom in on Emu Point and have a look across the other side. These are the boat sheds and the boats and some of the buildings that you can see. When I leave here, I'm going to drive around to Emu Point to show you what Emu Point looks like, because we have spent many times there having picnics and coffees in the cafe. The view from here is beautiful. It is clear to see that Albany has quite the boating community. I had a look with the large zoom lens at the small island we could see, and it was covered with birds, and these birds are the massive pelicans. Let me know in the comments if you get pelicans in your part of the world. We are now around at Emu Point, and my kids have played on this playground way too many times. It's a beautiful family area, and normally there are many children running around, but it is a school day and not school holidays. There's a swimming area that is all closed in with a shark net so that sharks can't get into the swimming area. But today the beach is fairly empty apart from what appears to be a school excursion. From here we are actually looking back towards Bayonet Head where we were before. That's the island with the pelicans that we could see in the zoom there, and Bayonet Head itself is probably about there. This little cafe is absolutely magic, but once again, it's very hard to normally get a seat. There is a small pass right at the tip of Emu Point through which you can get a boat all the way into Albany. This brings towards a close the end of another episode. And if you find these slowly, clearly spoken English episodes helpful, please let me know in the comments. Feel free to give me any criticism or feedback.